From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning on Mornings LALATE with incredible great details about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In this recording, we'll be going over that monthly stimulus check the Democrats still want you to have. Then we'll be cutting to two-path process, reconciliation where your stimulus is, and the bipartisan agreement, which doesn't concern you. Then we'll be turning to the link or no link. It's incredible details. And finally, one of your villainesses of 2020 is your hero for 2021. And we'll have the great news as Jalapal overnight speaks out about the link issue for recon and your stimulus. Then we cut to this stimulus, which will raise your benefits a lifetime. And the new economic data coming out of Europe that signals how big that inflation rate's going to be. It's wonderful news for you. And then we cut to the big money that viewers continue to get every day. If you watched Afternoons LALATE yesterday, viewers got upwards of $50,000, $60,000 in just one chat. I saw all the sea of people, and it's your day to get that money as well. It's a big morning. The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here. Let's get to all that wonderful deliciousness starting right here, right now on Mornings LALATE. Weather where you are on this morning's broadcast. It got beautiful late yesterday, and so far today, it's quite good. Let's hope for the best. The weather has been wonderful here in Santa Monica. How's the weather where you are? Jump in the live chat right now and tell me where you're tuning in from. And how's the weather? In this fourth stimulus check updated 2021, today we'll be going over that monthly stimulus check that the Democrats still want you to have. Then we'll be turning to the exciting news about the two-path process, your stimulus in the recon and roads and bridges in the bipartisan. Then, in the third part of this video, we go over the breaking news as Jalapal and one of your villainesses from 2020 is your hero of 2021, talking about the linkage on the voting process. And then we turn to this stimulus, which raises your benefits up a lifetime, and the economic data coming out of Europe today that signals how wonderful your benefits are going to raise. And another fifth stimulus check. Oh my goodness. And finally, we turn to the big thousands of dollars that viewers are getting. Yesterday, we had an overwhelming sea of people getting money. And I'm going to ensure that you get that money today as well. And this is LALATE, America's only 24-hour a day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning and taped in the afternoons. After this broadcast is Mornings Crypto. Jump into that live chat right after the show is over at about 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Then at 11 a.m., we have Noontime, live from Santa Monica. And there's a lot of breaking news happening today about stimulus. In the second half of the day, we go into our tape shows, afternoons and evenings LA. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button. And next up, 410,000. Just a few hundred people away. Let's get there today. Also, like this video. Every like helps in the algorithm rankings and also delivers a garnishment of parsley on the side. And consider becoming a member. Let's get right into the details with that monthly fourth stimulus check those Democrats still want you to have. That fourth stimulus check is monthly from both the House and the Senate. But you're going to see a new wrinkle in the calculations for the first time on this morning's broadcast. Yes, this is breaking, starting right now. House, pandemic plus 1 year monthly stimulus check. Senate, July to December. House, payout $1,000 after the first month of $2,000. Senate payout on a monthly basis, well, unknown, but word on the street is this. Wow, now that's deliciousness. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000 a person, or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400 a person. If you're in the live chat just around 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, get ready to vote House or Senate and tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. But I got a new wrinkle for the first time about this calculation. Notice over the last few days I've been saying, well, those legislators may contend the pandemic is over, so the House may be reduced to stimulus checks of just 1 year, which would amount to 12 checks. Well, there's a new wrinkle, and that new wrinkle came overnight. Los Angeles County, overnight, shocked America, making it broadcast news nationally that after 2 weeks of lifting our mask mandate has now issued new instructions that voluntarily it's instructing citizens of Los Angeles to put their masks back on. Why? With 50% of all COVID cases in LA County now the Delta variant, it's suggesting that even fully vaccinated people should consider wearing masks indoors. This is huge because as Pelosi is out of California, this may signal the House bill may actually end up as being a pandemic plus 1 year of stimulus checks, which would be a lot more checks than the Senate plan. So with that, let's now consider House, $2,000, $1,000 a month versus Senate. Get ready to vote. I think you have an opinion now, and the opinion may be different than yesterday. Vote House or Senate. Which one do you like, House or Senate? And tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. Yeah, that's a big wrinkle, isn't it? I tell you, there's always a breaking news story on this channel. Always happening, and there you go. Who gets this fourth stimulus check? You do. Democrats want everyone who got a third stimulus check to get a fourth stimulus check. A single individual, $75,000 or less, you would get a fourth stimulus check from those Democrats. The Democrats want married couples to have a fourth stimulus check. Just double it, $150,000 or less. Family of four, Democrats would give you a fourth stimulus check. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, or railroad benefits, Democrats would give you a fourth stimulus check. As someone in the live chat dropped a question, would adult dependents get a stimulus check? Yep, everyone would get a stimulus check. The stimulus check would not be income. It would not be taxable. The fourth stimulus check would be the same amount for everyone. And the fourth stimulus check would come monthly. It would not come in waves. So if you're at the hair salon this morning and getting your hair done in San Francisco and you see the check in the next booth, hey, check, what's that hairstyle called? Not waving back at me? Rude check. That hairstyle went out in the 1970s. It's not a rude check. It's just not a stylish check. It has no sense of how to brush its hair. And there you go. The fourth stimulus check would come in the month of July for the month of July from those Democrats. And in the month of August for the month of August, they still have time to get that stimulus check out. And they still represent the final vote will be by July 4th. And there you go. That is your first of three major updates of fourth stimulus in this recording. In the second part, we go over the exciting details of the two-path process, which ironically now is very clear to the Americans across the board. Your stimulus is in the recon and your stimulus is separate and apart from roads and bridges. Thank goodness. Couldn't be more happier than that. I'll explain the two-path process, which is no longer an issue of dispute. But in the third part of this video, we go over the issue, which is of dispute, the voting process. And what did Jalopal say overnight? Oh my goodness, it's such wonderful news. I can't wait to tell it to you in the second half of this video. But also, let's get a preview of the second half of this video, fifth stimulus. Fifth stimulus will raise your benefits up a lifetime and apply a new benchmark. And now there's new economic data coming out of the Economic and Monetary Department of the Bank of International Securities suggesting that inflation rate's going very high. I have that breaking details coming up in the second half of this video, plus a fifth stimulus check. But let's get some money. If you're new to this channel, that's what we do. Boy, if you got in a penny from this channel, jump in the live chat right now and say what you got. And if you posted before, post again. If you did not tune into Evenings LA last night, it was just incredible. I think it was about $50,000 to $60,000 that was revealed from viewers that they got in the last few weeks. Viewers were killing it. 5,000, 10,000. That's what this channel does. In 2020, as the pandemic was ravaging, I got viewers $25 million of EIDL loans to save their businesses, their homes, and their employees' homes. But in fall of 2020, it was much like now, when we were waiting for second stimulus to pass around Christmas and it wasn't passing. So I stepped up and I got viewers $250,000 of rent. Like viewers Tyrone and his family, getting $15,000 for a family of four and a whole rent in Boston. But now you're doing it, and you are killing it. You're getting $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. Every few hours, another viewer is revealing these massive numbers. So get a pen and paper ready. Let's go over all the details, how you can get that money as well. We're going to go over rent, utilities, mortgage, and homeowners utilities. And that rent, I was usually saying it's about $5,000, 4 to 6 months of rent. I was very disproven. Yesterday, we had 2 viewers in Evenings LA say they got over $10,000. We had lots of viewers get far over $5,000. And in the last week, we've had viewers get $10,000, $12,000 for rent. Where are you going to get it? I'm going to go over all the details right now. Each place has different eligibility. So if one says no, reach out to the next. Get that pen and paper ready. And if it must be a Crayola crown, understanding I'm wearing Crayola blue today. All right, here we go. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city house authority, your county hall, your county house authority. State hall, state housing authority. Keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage assistance because of COVID. You're not going to say words they don't know, like stimulus or Mitch's fan club. They don't know those words. Does that exist? They don't know those words. So there you go. And congratulations to Tim and Linda who got this money. But boy, if you got in rent, jump in the live chat. I mean, I took notes on it and I lost my notes from last night. I'm going to look at them up again. I had 2 pages of notes for people that reveal their enormous wins. I want you to post what you got because it inspires other viewers to inspire them to get that money as well. And the next pot of money is SNAP. SNAP is a lot of money. It is money for food from the Department of Agriculture. We've had viewers in the last 2 weeks get 5, 6, 7,000, 4,000. Lynn Glenn got it for herself. Her son and her mom, Gail, got it. Her son, her mom, and herself, Gail, got it. What is it? It's money you can get from Department of Agriculture. So reach out to Department of Agriculture. It's money for your food. How much does it pay? A fortune. A family of 4 in Hawaii now gets upwards of $16,000 a year. Yes. Why so much? Because of 2 wonderful executive orders. One for Biden, one from Trump that raise your benefits up 15% between now and December nationally. So go get that SNAP. Go get that rent. You're killing it. $5,000 for rent approximately, or in some cases, viewers, $10,000 of rent. $15,000, $16,000 SNAP for a family for Hawaii. You're killing it. I'm killing it. The check in that hairstyle, not really killing it. This is not the 1970s. But let's get another pot of money, and we're only 11 minutes of this video. It's the money coming back from your states. States have been ordered to return a lot of money back to you due to computer error. This is states that had overpaid you unemployment benefits due to computer error. The federal government has ordered them to return the money back to you. How much money is it? One viewer got $5,000 from it. Where are you getting it? To direct deposit to the account you have on file with your unemployment department. How can you track it? Call up your state and say, hey, state, when am I getting back that check you overpaid me due to unemployment, due to computer error? And can you track it with a computer that actually works this time? And finally, the last pot of the money is the money coming back from IRS. If you got this as well, jump in the live chat right now. This is the wonderful money coming back that you paid on that refund, that's getting that refund on the unemployment benefits. Let's go over when, where, how, and how much. Michael got it, Cod got it, Margaret got it. Let's go over the details. Let's say you had $9,000 of unemployment benefits. You paid $5,000 of total taxes on that 2020 return, of which $4,000 was your taxes on the unemployment benefits. Congratulations, you're getting back $4,000. When? This month. Can you, where? Direct deposit, otherwise in the mail, whatever you had set up. And can you track it? Yeah, you can track it. Go to irs.gov, set up a username and password, and do a transcript search. You'll be shocked what it'll reveal. 70% of the time. It'll reveal the tax return you filed, the taxes you paid. What really is Mitch's favorite dance move? And it'll reveal really why $12 ice cream tastes like $1 ice cream. And finally, the tax return check you're getting. Wow, can we top that? Yes. As we go into the big second part of your 4th stimulus check updated 2021 on this morning's LA broadcast, live from Santa Monica, starting right now. Boy, 2 weeks ago, well, let's go back to a week ago. A week ago, your stimulus checks were in a reconciliation. Where are they today? They're still there. So what happened? 2 things. One thing happened, but 2 things wonderful came out of it. Let's go over what happened. Over the last 3 weeks, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and the president were meeting, saying that the reconciliation process was the reconciliation package was too big. It was just too enormous. And they wanted to decide where they should spin stuff off. Sort of like a TV show that has too many stars in it, and they want to spin some cast members off in a spin-off show. And so they finally decided last Wednesday to spin off roads and bridges into a separate path called bipartisan. And that became the 2-path process. Your stuff is still where it is, in the recon. But roads and bridges was spun off into bipartisan. Let's go over that again. So bipartisan is now a spinoff with roads and bridges, but all your stuff is still where it is in recon. Now, why is this great news? It's great news for two reasons I've identified. Number one, identity. Over the last 4 weeks, well, actually longer than that, over the last 2 months, forced stimulus has had an identity problem. There's been certainly enough naysayers that said forced stimulus is only about infrastructure, roads and bridges. It's not about money for you. Well, yeah, it was a lot about money for us, but the roads and bridges was overwhelming the identity. And by taking the roads and bridges out and putting them in their own spin-off show, Nash Bridges, no, it's called Roads and Bridges, not Nash Bridges, it gives your fourth stimulus its own identity. Now that identity is being amplified. Who's amplifying the identity? Who's making the identity more clear? Mitch McConnell. Why is Mitch McConnell doing us a favor? Because in his trash talking of the recon, now he's making it very clear that there always was a lot of wonderful money for Americans in there. He's calling it a democratic wish list, a socialism platform, a social welfare payout to people who don't need any more checks. Thank you, Mitch. You just did all my work. You just explained to the American people what it is. Now, without the trash talking. But there you go. Because forced stimulus always had this money in it, but it was overwhelmed and lacked an identity. In there, your stimulus checks. In there, which are very, very progressive policies. In there, climate for the American people. Climate checks from the president. Then electric vehicle checks, then money for seniors in medicine, CARES economy as it's called, then money for children, a lifetime for 18 years, lots and lots and lots of checks for lots and lots of people. Well, wait a second. I never knew there was all that stuff in there. I mean, LA, you're the only one talking about it. Yeah, because roads and bridges was overwhelming the subject matter. And now that roads and bridges are out of that path and in their own path, suddenly you have a beautiful identity. What's the second benefit of what's happened? What I call fourth stimulus, F-O-R-T. It's like a fort for your stimulus. Suddenly, by putting the roads and bridges in their own path, down by the river, down in the next town, down, after the road and down the bridge and after the river, suddenly all your stuff is in a beautiful fort that is protected by progressives. And all the deliciousness that you want is protected by Jalopal and her caucus and those people. There's a lot of wonderful ideology and a lot of wonderful progressive policies in there, and they're all being protected by Jalopal, the president, and someone else. That someone else is going to be revealed in the third part. But we got a spoiler of this, ironically, a week ago. When Jalopal said that she was getting praises from the White House for protecting his progressive policies. At that point, we said, why are we protecting something? What are we protecting it from? And ironically, Brian Schatz, Democrat out of Hawaii, also progressive, said that the White House has repeatedly reassured him that the progressive policies, priorities of the forced stimulus are also the White House's own priorities, and that to continue to do what he's doing. Ironically, we had got to the spoiler, we just didn't know it, that fort of your stimulus was really being protected by the progressives. And in there, the progressive policies of those checks, that progressive policies of the president's climate, all beautifully protected in a fort. So with that, as we go into the new day, two wonderful things. Suddenly, your forced stimulus has a very clear identity. And number two, it has a beautiful fort. As we sit here today, it's no longer an issue of are you getting stimulus? It's an issue of how's the voting process? And that's coming up in the third part of this video. But how did we get to this wonderful spot? We got to this wonderful spot by Jalopal. Jalopal had written Schumer a letter about 2 weeks ago saying, "Chuck, call the vote on the recon." Now, that letter was signed by 12 House Democrats who are among the 100-plus House Democrats in the House who said, "Mr. President, we're going to be putting forced stimulus checks in the forced stimulus package, recon." Oh, my goodness. Can we top that? Yes, we can top that. As 7 House subcommittee members on that House subcommittee that's responsible for stimulus checks wrote the president a letter and said, we're going to be putting forced stimulus checks monthly into the forced stimulus recon. Notice I'm saying the word recon very emphatically. Who are these people? They're the people who did your thirst stimulus check recon. Oh my goodness. What do they do for a living? They're on the House subcommittee that's responsible solely for doing stimulus checks in the House. And they did your first stimulus check, they did your second stimulus check, they did your third stimulus check by recon, and they represent they're doing your fourth stimulus check by recon. Oh my goodness, can we top that? Yes, they say they're doing your fifth stimulus check by recon in the fall for next year. That's coming up later in this video. Wow, can we top that? Yes, as the president has now anchored a fourth stimulus recon to the edge of the finish line by getting the pay-for corporate taxes solidified by clarifying the international minimum corporate tax rate 2 weeks ago, going overseas and getting that anchored to the edge of the finish line. What is going on? Let me explain to you. One thing that's very clear is that recon, excuse me, wrong graphic, here we go, is that recon is paid for by raising corporate taxes. Bipartisan is paid for by staying away from taxes. You say taxes to Mitch and his hair turns blue. No. So recon is paid for by raising corporate taxes. The president, however, said that in raising corporate taxes to pay for recon, he was worried that businesses may move overseas to where they'll find a country with lower corporate taxes. So the president had an idea. He reached out to those countries several weeks ago and said, let's raise the corporate tax rate minimum. And those countries said tentatively yes. The president reached out to his staff and said, staff, let's bring Jill's favorite potpourri to those countries in December and have them sign on the dotted line. And then it will make it easier to take provisions out of forced stimulus. His staff said, Mr. President, you can bring potpourri in June. People like potpourri in June. Okay. So he went and visited those countries 2 Saturdays ago. And he got them to sign on the dotted line, anchoring forced stimulus recon to the edge of the finish line, because now the international elements of corporate taxes are covered in that international agreement, making it easier for the Democrats to pass forced stimulus recon, because forced stimulus recon international taxes are no longer need to be covered in the recon. They're in the international agreement. Oh my goodness. Now that's wonderful news. Can we top that? Yes. In the third part of this recording, we go over the only issue of contention, the only issue of dispute, which is not whether you're getting stimulus, which is not whether there's two paths. It's what's the voting path. What is the link or not link? And for the big surprise, not only does Jalapal speak out overnight defending you with incredible, wonderful words, but your villainess of 2020 came back and became your hero of 2021. I have her comments as well. Oh my goodness, you're going to be excited. And we also go over fifth stimulus. Is there something more wonderful than that? Yes, the volunteers. If you need help with rent, utilities, or SNAP or internet, reach out to the volunteers. In the live chat, post right now if you haven't posted right already what you've gotten from this channel, whether it's $1, $2 for SNAP or internet or rent, because it'll inspire other people to try to get it. And if they haven't gotten it, they've looked, no sweat. Reach out to the volunteers. How do you find the volunteers? Open the description of this video. Go down in the description, you'll see an emoji of a house. Next to that emoji of a house is a link to the community page, news.lalate.com/community. Click the link and it'll send you to the community page. There are the volunteers, separated from Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. They'll help you get that money. Now, they cannot cook you a tostada. They cannot give you ingredient lists to $12 ice cream. They cannot tell you what Mitch's favorite dance move is. Not that you wouldn't want to know, but they can get you all that out of the money. And here's the wonderful news about them. I'll be back in 60 seconds with more wonderful news about your forced stimulus and what Jalapal did overnight. Coming up in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. and then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now, live from Santa Monica on Mornings LA. How's the weather where you are? If you're just joining the live chat, tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather this beautiful morning. In the second part of this video, we go over the really wonderful news as Jalapal comes out defending you overnight and the Recon Fort is under protection mode. We'll go over what's going on and the only issue of dispute, linkage. And then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up and applies a new benchmark. And we have breaking news out of Europe, out of economic data, and also United Airlines. It is huge. And this is LA. Make sure you subscribe. 400,000 subscribers. Next stop, 410,000. We're just a few hundred away. Hit that subscribe button right now. Also, like this video. Every time you like the video, it helps rank the video higher and also delivers you a side of macaroni and cheese. And consider becoming a member. Meantime, stay with this video, stay with this channel, because coming up right after this video at 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time is Mornings Crypto live from Santa Monica. Then at 11 a.m. is noontime. Let's get right into fifth stimulus. Fifth stimulus is heating up. So many things happen across the board. First thing you need to know about fifth stimulus is there's going to be a fifth stimulus check. Those House subcommittee members I talked about earlier in this recording, they're going to be doing, after fourth stimulus recon, fifth stimulus recon checks. Those fifth stimulus recon checks would be for January 2021, and those fourth stimulus recon checks would start for legislative process in September, out for a vote about November, December. There you go. Then the president has dedicated $1 billion to the Social Security Administration. This will ramp up processes of payroll and staffing computers to ensure that your fourth stimulus checks, your fifth stimulus checks, and your monthly benefits go out on time, solving all the problems we had for third stimulus checks for beneficiaries earlier this year. And then finally, the wonderful SSI and SSDI reform. We all know that there is SSI reform in fifth stimulus, but the breaking news is from Claudia Blorio, head of Economic and Monetary Department at Bank of International Settlements, who said that for countries that have been trying very hard to get inflation up unsuccessfully, that would be actually very good news right now, and one should rejoice that we're seeing enormous inflation now. This is huge because remember, this benefits will raise your benefits up based upon inflation, the new benchmark. Also, Craig Lazario, managing director, this morning at S&P DGI said that the new home starts was up substantially, 14%. And finally, United Airlines announced today it's hiring 25,000 new employees that will be union jobs, which will be like a 30% increase in their staff. What is this all about? Inflation. Fifth stimulus involves that reform that has a new benchmark of inflation. And let's go over how this calculates for you and why this is so wonderful. First, they'll raise your benefits up for across the board. Then they'll apply the inflationary benchmark, remove the asset cap, remove the income exclusion, and remove the marriage penalty. Let's go over how this calculates for you. First thing, under fifth stimulus, everyone's benefits will be raised up one time. Who's you? You. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, survivor benefits, all your benefits will be raised up one big time. Next, they'll apply a new benchmark. You understand what a benchmark is. It determines how much your benefits will go up the next year or stay the same. And you understand the new benchmark's inflation. And you understand the inflation's going up from where it is right now. And you've unheard and learned from this channel that Jay Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve, has said that the inflation will reach its highest spot in December when they apply your benefits benchmark. Well, here you go. What's going to happen? Well, let's choose a number. Wall Street analysts are thinking maybe we're going to go to 10% from 4% right now. If we're at 4%, we're going up to 10%. Then when they apply your benchmark in December, your benefits would go up 10%. Not just next year, lifetime. Because once your benefits step up, they never step down. So if next year the inflation rate is 1%, your benchmark would be +1 plus 10%. This is wonderful news. It's absolutely wonderful. Next, they're going to remove the asset cap, dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 in hand. Now you'll be able to have some stimulus checks in your hand and room for a taco. They're going to remove the income cap, dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't stay on benefits and also work. And then finally, the marriage penalty is going to go away. Love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest and no longer fear loss of benefits. Viewers like Rob and Sandy will be able to get married and no longer fear loss of the marriage penalty. And there you go. That's fifth stimulus. If you got any money for this channel, whether it's rent, utilities, SNAP, or anything, jump in the live chat right now. And as you see people posting what they've gotten from this channel, whether it's $100 or $5,000 or $10,000, or the massive sea of people saying what they got less yesterday on Evenings LALATE, how are they doing it? They're becoming members. You'll see that purple hawk right next to their name. What's going on? When third stimulus passed, I said, hey, you'll get a $1,400 stimulus check. But there's a lot of money in third stimulus for you to get. $5,000 to $15,000 of money. And you need to pounce, hawk, hawk, as a purple hawk before anyone else to get that money. And that's what became Purple Hawks. Daily, I deliver to viewers of this channel a breakdown, who are members, a breakdown of what's in third stimulus for them to go apply for it. It's mostly application-based. So consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the channel, the pinned comment. Daily, I deliver all those breakdowns to members via the YouTube community page, which explains the big money you can get under third stimulus and eventually under fourth and fifth stimulus. As Nisi said in one of the chats in the last 2 days, thank you, LA. Because of your educationalist channel, she got rent, utilities, and SNAP. She killed it. Can we top that? We can. As we go into our third and final update of your fourth stimulus check of 2021 starting right now. What's great news is that finally, the situation is very clear for Americans. Finally, the identity is very clear. The path is very clear. And it's no longer a question of, are we going to get stimulus? That was never the question on this channel. It's the question of, when are they going to vote on it? So now that we have two paths, Recon, that has your stimulus in it, and that is your checks and everything else, massive, massive progressive stimulus for the American people, and bipartisan, which concerns stuff that doesn't concern you, roads and bridges, suddenly the paths are so very clear. There is zero, repeat, zero dispute about where things are. That's easy. There is a zero dispute of what's in there as well. Certainly all we have to hear about is how many checks and what the amount of the checks is. But there's zero dispute about what is in there. The only thing that is left of dispute is when and how do they vote on it. Now, here's what you need to know to start. First, they can still get stimulus checks in the month of July. But what item goes for a vote first before something else? Here is what you need to know. To pass something into law, it has to be passed by the House, passed by the Senate, and signed by the President. It could start in the House and go to the Senate, or start in the Senate and go to the House. Who determines when something's called for a vote in the Senate? One person, the majority leader. His name is Chuck Schumer. Who does not determine when things are going for a vote? Everyone else. I have no determination when things are called for a vote in the Senate. Who determines when things are called for a vote in the House? One person. Her name is Nancy Pelosi. And what happened in the last 8 to 12 hours? Well, the President of the United States is appearing across the country talking about the bipartisan. Good. All right, go ahead and talk. But what did the press secretary for the White House say? The president is eager to sign both provisions quickly. The quote, the president intends to sign both pieces of legislation into law. Good. Did not say the word linked. More about that word in a second, linked, because you're going to hear that a lot. Mitch McConnell, however, responded and said, I appreciate the president saying that he's willing to deal with infrastructure separately, the bipartisan, but the president doesn't control the Congress. Neither do you, Mitch. Mitch McConnell does not control anything in the Congress anymore. He doesn't determine when things are called for a vote. Now, I have one viewer who I greatly, dearly love. I dearly love her. She's been a long-time viewer. She's a Republican, very proud Republican. I love her for it. She's very, very vocal. But she sent me a question, just a normal question. She said, Senator Marjorie Greene is saying when she's going to be calling the vote in the Senate. Honey... Tell Senator Greene, tell Marjorie, she don't call any vote in any place. Certainly not in the Senate. There's one person who calls the vote in the Senate. It's Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer calls the vote. So what should you know about that? Chuck Schumer has, since Thursday to now, made very clear that he is not calling the vote on the bipartisan first. He's calling the vote on the reconciliation first. And once it's passed, then he's calling the vote on the bipartisan. And when they're both passed, then he's sending them over to Nancy's house. What did Nancy say? Well, here you go. Suddenly, your villainous from 2020 is now your big hero for 2021. Because Nancy Pelosi, to revalidate what I just said to you about what Chuck's going to do, she made it very clear that she is going to be sent both the recon and the bipartisan together. Otherwise, the bipartisan will be thrown in the garbage can. This is Nancy Pelosi's comment. There ain't, that's her words, going to be no bipartisan bill unless we have the reconciliation bill. And as I said, there won't be a bipartisan bill unless we have a reconciliation bill. Plain and simple. In fact, I use the word ain't. There ain't going to be a bipartisan bill unless we have the reconciliation bill passed by the United States Senate. Such a wow, thank you. Is this the same person from 2020? Absolutely wonderful. She's protecting Fort Stimulus. We covered earlier in this video by making very clear that Fort Stimulus goes from the Senate to her house. Can it be any better than this? Yes. And it's Jalopal. Jalopal, who started this all, is also ending it all. What did Jalopal do? Let's read the quote first, and then I'll explain. Jalopal says, "We have an agenda that we have to accomplish. And linking the two bills, bipartisan and recon, is the only way it's going to get accomplished. We did a poll of our members 10 days ago, and the overwhelming majority of our caucus said they are not going to vote on a bipartisan deal without the reconciliation package." And that's the finale. Wow, now that is wonderful news. To summarize, what Jalopal basically said was that she reached out to her Democrat caucus in the House and said, no way, folks, we're doing recon, and we're calling recon, and we're voting on recon in the Senate. And then when you send it to us in the House, it better be approved. When you send it to us in the House, it better be approved. And we have pulled our Democrat caucus, and we are calling recon for a vote, and we're passing recon. And you're not sending us only bipartisan. To recap, there is no dispute that there's a two-path process. That is not of dispute. Also not of dispute anymore is that your forced stimulus has amazing relief for the American people in it. Enormous progressive policies. All the naysayers for weeks on end that said it's only about roads and bridges have been put to rest because it was never only roads and bridges. And to give you more identity, suddenly your recon is just progressive policies, and that roads and bridges are down the road in their own bipartisan agreement. There's no dispute about that. And there's no dispute that there is two items to get passed. The only thing that is of dispute, well, or at least contention, is how things are called for a vote. And there's nothing for you to worry about that at all, because there's only two people who have the authority under the Constitution to call the vote. There is no person who can disable or dismantle or prevent Leader Schumer from calling the vote on a bill or Nancy Pelosi. They have the full and equivocal authority under the Constitution to call the vote when they want, on what they want, and how they want. And if Mitch McConnell doesn't like it, sorry, it ain't 2020. And there you go. That is the wonderful news for your forced stimulus of 2021 this morning. Coming up next is Morning's Crypto, live on air, direct from Santa Monica. It starts in about 2 minutes from now. Join that video. Oh boy. And then please join me on noontime. I have more breaking details on this forced stimulus. As you see, there's a lot of things unfolding and a lot of very fascinating details you need to know. But with that, make sure you subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Next up, 410,000. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes. Consider liking the video because it delivers a pinata. And consider becoming a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP, so you have access to all the incredible information that can get you that $5,000 to $10,000, $15,000 as well. Stay informed, stay focused, and I'll see you next on Morning's Crypto starting in 5 seconds.